Only yesterday, we noticed that there was protests in some states of the country. In Abuja, it was massive. It was massive. But let's hear what some of the protesters who kicked against the hate speech bill, what they said. Nigerian students also have kicked against the hate speech bill. Let's just listen to them.
We know that if this bill is passed into law, it will be like an infringement on our rights to talk. Every citizen has the right to freedom of speech, and taking that away, I think it's a slap on our faces.
It is unfortunate that we have less of social media and trying to make life unbearable for us.
It's like taking the only freedom that we have. Who are we? Of course, we don't have guns. We can't go to fighting against you with ammunitions. But then the only thing that we have that we can use to voice out what we have or that what we are going through as a nation.
The most important thing we have to know about this bill is that this bill is not going to do us any good. It's not going to do us any good. The most annoying part of the bill is that it will now be left for the government or the security agency to actually tell us which one is fake and which news is real.
Okay, we've heard them, the hate speech bill, and of course that of the social media, but our focus is on the hate speech bill. The death penalty is what actually triggered the protests and triggered reactions from the nooks and crannies of this country. And of course, the diaspora. Nigerians in the diaspora have also reacted to this issue. And I must tell you that the very latest, that the former head of state, former military president of Nigeria, Ibrahim Babangida, popularly known as IBB, has also issued a statement. He has also kicked against this hate speech bill. Some people believe that it is not what we need at this time. But it's not for me to say. Like I told you, we have very distinguished personality with us. I will start with Mr. Eddie Efenai, Pathfinder, to get the ball rolling.
Mr. Rosa, thank you very much.
Okay.
The hate speech bill is quite unfortunate at this time of our democracy that you are introducing the hate speech bill to Nigerians. The hate speech bill itself is satanic in nature.
How do you mean?
For any person to think of introducing a bill to tame, to curtail the right of Nigerians to speak, means that the government is having something that is hiding, is that it doesn't want to kick against. In the first, what is hate speech? I think it's the law, really the word speech. Okay. Because it's on your interpretation of when you express a view that is against government, you take it as speech. Now, in practice, I think so, when the General Danjuma had the conference ceremony, he raised said we have got a point where the killing in Plateau and other parts of the north is becoming so alarming. At a point we get to now that should fight for their right. Nigerians should seek for self-defense. The next day, the minister tell me what the General said as an speech. Now, people are being killed. There's an adage that says when you push a dog to the wall, the dog, since it was coming so alarming that somebody said you have to defend yourself. But automatically the government read it as an hate speech. It doesn't really make any sense. The hate speech bill, to my mind, is to tame Nigeria. It requires Nigerians into accept whatever the government is doing. Democracy, people freedom to express their views on issues affecting their lives, like I said before, because don't think it. Nigeria is a country where you want to curtail the right of the people from expressing themselves. There are other areas the National Assembly, for example, ought to concern themselves with, not the issue of people expressing their views. The social media is the only avenue Nigerians can ventilate their ideas, their opinions about government activities. NTA, for example, will not carry some views. EBS will not also carry. And sometimes, too, ITV might not also carry because of views that are expressed. But in the social media, you have the opportunity to ventilate your ideas, ventilate your opinions about whatever government is doing. So Anybody now say you want to pass or to force any step what the government is doing is totally unacceptable.
Okay, I'll come back to you. But allow Mr. Patrick Isekene to make his comment before other questions will come up.
The issue of the hate-speech bill, just as being explained by my colleague here, is totally sitting on culture, barbaric, and unacceptable. Yes, I agree that a heterogeneous society, polarized in nature, society we have ours. Yeah, happy to have with the planet. If it's so, government policies, not like the court permits that. So, our constitution, freedom of expression, it's allowed to deny the masses that government. Yeah. Somebody, because denies that. All that you make inconsistent constitution, it is non and void. That's inconsistent, non and void. I'm talking about the preamble. It takes them for any other thing. So the constitution cannot go outside it. Because this for the right. We are signatories. We have a United Nations to also the African Charter. Before they domesticated into our own here now in the country. So you have to look at that aspect. You cannot deny the masses. It is their right. Their right is so powerful that that section gives their right to express their view anytime, any day. Because I believe that in the local palace, right from when we talk about democracy, all those things, there's a matter that goes that salut populis supreme est. The will of the people is supreme. Okay. And again, voice populis, voice Dei. The voice of power, voice of God. These are drawn, which our constitution ought to take cognizance from by virtue of section 14 for constitution. 2B say that section 14 makes it clear that Nigeria is a country that is based on democracy, in which the government's power is to tap from. That the government is to tap from, that is democracy. Yeah. Then it makes it that power belongs to the people. With the government, the constitution is to draw the power from. They are so powerful. Even not that the constitution, even the government themselves. That's why he said, like I told you, that's why the Muslim goes as salut populis supreme est, the will of the people is supreme. You cannot rule out. So criticizing government policies is part of democracy. It's one of the spies. Dividends used to spy in democracy. There is need for opposition to put the government into the power, to put them in a standstill. You must oppose. Without opposition, there will not be government. So, those the proponents of those that be have a lot to tell us, because I don't understand the way it goes. I don't understand, because I've checked the constitution, not like I hate speech. I don't know where they got that word from. You know, it's not acceptable. Because you can also have hate speech, you also have the issue of law speech. It cannot be just hate, it also be law speech. Follow the difference. But I'm concerned that whatever role they want that section to play, this bill they are providing, by virtue of the right to freedom of expression and press, it is dead on arrival. Because they have a duty to criticize the government when the need arises. So the bill you try to make, whether by hanging, by death, by this, it does not apply here. People go to court to challenge such a law, and it will be set aside. What you can do over it. So if like I told you, if it's meant, there should be an exception to every rule. If you must criticize, nobody, issue of criticism remains there. I'm not against government regulating some for the society, because I believe that when it's wrongly used, you are going to incite the society, anything that incites society by your words, religious crisis, trouble, different things. Yes, you should be checkmated, but not when it is meant to criticize government policies, because you are giving them power to do. Nobody can deny them. They're not begging for such a thing. Because you are giving them that power. Nobody can even deny them. That is the executive of the judiciary. It is the power of the masses. Because you are giving them that power. So what I'm trying to say is that they should remove that. They should make it as an exception. Maybe it's the government policy. I said I don't know much about it because no enlightenment, no education. Don't ambush the masses. You have people from national assemblies. They go to the constituency and explain to them what they meant by that. Okay. What they meant by that, but even I believe that when you have merit, you also have the merit. Okay, you cannot say hate speech without having a law speech. You cannot be law speech. Yes. You are aware that the pressure for some Nigerians now, the issue of the death penalty have been removed from that. By the no, so yes. Law speech cannot remove such a thing. That's why I believe that it's an attempt to not only popularize Nigeria, to cage Nigeria, and it will not work. Okay. If it's done to protect yourself in power or to do legality, Nigeria SP does not apply here. Okay, we'll come back to you, but let's get the thought of a politician with us, evangelist, comrade, Collins.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
You know, in a country like ours, you will expect many things to take place. In a society where those who primarily responsibility was to assist, get the welfareism of the people going, and they are not for doing this, and nobody is really pushing, and even when you try to push elite you, the only area you would surrender to assist and enforce or interpret these people's responsibility to them would have been the court. But the court has since been far from the people, and even closer to those they were to help, you know, checkmate and assist in their daily runnings of government.
Yeah, that's another allegation that you can also
good. You would
because
say
the
that
judiciary, that's where the masses have hope.
Good. We, you know what? I think the problem we consistently will have with this country is because in an attempt to want to get institutions that ought to work, is being seen as hate speech or being criticized unlawfully, even when you and I know that they are not up to task. Now, let's go by the word hate speech that they have claimed now. Now, Minister Lai Mohammed, now or before now, have repeatedly tried to see how we can come up with a proposal to fighting the social media. Because one, take it or leave it, the social media have taken 45% of the media scope as it is right now. People may not even bother going on, putting on TV, putting on radio. The first thing is, let me just go online and see if there's any news, anything to hear. Okay. They easily just pick from there and they go with it. Now it's good for a government or a system that is ready to work. There can be policies to assist, to manage the way people operate. Not only on what you write per se. You know, even if they say the word hate speech safe, you see, let me tell you, if we even go to the court, a court that is working, if I type and I say AYZ, I am writing, I'm not speaking. Speech is different from writing. So even if they want to, it's only when I do a visual and you hear me talk, you can even go to court and say, oh, let him be crucified. But the way Nigeria run at it were, when the government gets you arrested or want to persecute you, until they get to the bottom of their game, they will not rest. And the funny thing is that they end up having injustice, where they are not supposed to triumph. You see government triumphing over ordinary citizens on issues they are not supposed to. We have seen people who have worked with governors and said that the governor's phone was missing. The person was around that vicinity. For that reason, he's been suspicious. He takes the person to court, being unable to, prove his innocence, assume a handset, the person, many of them, has been sentenced to death. We have seen it in this country over the years, But what we are trying to say, now you are baboozling the people the more. You have been asked to do a certain thing, you have been unable to do these things. And these people are still mute, owing that let Nigeria not go into chaos. Let Nigeria not go into chaos. You are even moving further. And that is why they are saying the more you keep silent, even when your enemy is bouncing on you, they will continue to bounce on you and assume that you don't know exactly where you are or what to do or what to say. But I think it's just only an ample opportunity to say, okay, let Nigerians speak. Now you saw our very young, distinguished comrades who come out to express how they are feeling. Yeah. Now you can tell me a country where you have over 200 million Nigerians, over 200 million, on an issue as salient as this. Yeah. You can see 25, 30 people on the street to protest on a major issue such as this. Now you ask me, where are those bourgeois who claim to be activists, who God has blessed, that can assist to conscientize and publicize these things for people to be oriented? Now they are all far away. Now at the end of the day, these our young noblemen will strive a little they can. At the end they will go home and sit down. Bring back our guests. They started very little, about 30. They end up 3. And the 3, I'm sure they are tired under the tree and they have since gone back home. Now, how can we continue to remain like this in a country where traditional rulers will not voice out the reality on ground? Now, a man brought up a bill such as this, such devilish and anti-people, as unhealthy as it is. You believe or you expect that he had come from a constituency, though election doesn't count in Nigeria. But we assume that at a particular area, they gathered a vote, they wrote for him and said go. Within that jurisprudence, you still have somebody who can say my traditional ruler, my pastor in the church. They should know when the policies are becoming anti-something. And you expect these people to call such a man to order and say, come on, go and retrieve this you are proposing. Now, if I say, I was listening to CNN yesterday, what was the name of this man? He is one of the Americans, though he's from the Republican. You know, even where the president come from. He said he has never seen a lying president as President Trump. He said this on CNN. You can go and Google them. Just yesterday, he was on live interview. He said the only man he knows that had lied just like President Trump, but President Trump is on the lead, is Tony Blair of Britain. You understand what I'm saying? Now he was making references to how politicians lie, and he was been able to pinpoint policies and some things that Trump had not done, mostly on American foreign policies that Americans were never keen into, and those were not part of the things at the time he told them on the foreign policy, you know, on Iran issue. Now, would you say that man has committed an hate speech by American people and will be persecuted? No. But I just want to appeal, you know, to Nigerians, those who are actually concerned, to understand the fact that Project Nigeria is Project Everybody. If they allow it to collapse, their own daughter and sons will be victim of this same bill they are pursuing. Because you shouldn't forget that the daughter and the sons in the universities, wherever they are right now, are also, you know, involved in all of this. There are times money or your connection cannot now save you at a certain level to set your child free, especially when it runs into the hands of the opposition.
Okay,
when you are no more in government.
Thank you very much. I think you've been very elaborate. You've been able to actually articulate your points, but we must say that election, your votes count. INEC is there to do its job, to ensure that your vote counts. So it is still very important to make that assertion. Kolizabadi is a politician, and he's very emotional when he makes his comments. But let's go back to Mr. Eddie Efenai, Pathfinder. Now, I was going to ask you a question. Now, social media, you have commended the advent of social media. But don't you think that some persons are abusing their rights? Some persons are abusing the use of the social media. And the government probably forced, or Honorable Sabi Abdullahi, who actually brought the bill before the Senate, is forced to do that so that the social media can be sanitized. Maybe this death penalty initially was to like really, really scare those who are proponents of hate speech.
Okay, Mr. Agosa, I've heard what you have just said. There are advantages and disadvantages of the use of the social media.
Yes.
Like I said before, what is hate speech? It depends on the context in which you are using it. Those in government, when they make a speech, it's not it's a love speech. Those out
when
of
there is no light and they tell you,
yeah, those out of government, when they make speech, they call it hate. Just a few days ago, I was going through the social media, for example. I saw a leading leader of APC, leading leader of APC, making a statement. And then the statement to the effect that when Saraki left PDP, 16 senators left with him. And out of the 16 senators, only one that is returned. And then the one that is returned now is almost going below the ground. That you will see how they're already leading with 20,000. You will see how it's going to come out of the ground with 20,000 deficit in the vote. Now, that is a statement made by somebody in government. If that statement was made by somebody out of government, now what will you now term that that statement? You automatically call it a speech. So, if there are ways to regulate the activities of the social media, but you will assert from me that the man who proposed that bill was instigated into proposing the bill. The man was instigated into proposing the bill because before now, Lai Mohammed and so many other government officials have always been saying that they are looking for ways to curtail the activities of Nigerians in the social media. So, but putting a death penalty on, there are other legislation the National Assembly should concern themselves with, not the issue of people expressing their views. Because essentially what they want to achieve is to attempt to coerce people from expressing their views. For example, the election violence. Nobody has been jailed, nobody has been hanged, nobody has been sentenced to death for election violence in this country. The National Assembly have not done anything. In the last Kogi election, the APC woman, the PDP woman leader was burnt alive. Dino Milaye's nephew was killed, and so many others. The National Assembly, they've not come up with any legislation to curtail the activities of election violence.
Okay.
And yet,
Mr. Adiafenai, you're making some very valid points. You're going to continue, but let's quickly inform our viewer out there that this program, 60 Minutes Nigeria, continues on our satellite broadcast. That means you can continue to watch on our satellite broadcast on GoTV, Star Times, and online streaming is on. And the ITV radio Sambalidating for the Christmas will also be on the local channel. Okay, yes, you've made some very valid points. But don't you think that the government is doing its best to arrest perpetrators of electoral violence?
Have you ever seen any person jailed, any person punished for election violence in this country? That has never happened. It is only, there are corrupt Nigerians, there are corrupt government officials which the National Assembly is supposed to concern themselves with. Okay. Nigeria is the only country. In China, there's a law that sentenced somebody to death in China for corrupt practices. For corruption. For corruption. In Nigeria, what we have had is 3 years of imprisonment. And in most cases, most of those 3 years in imprisonment is either spent in the hospital or spent through.
But those are the.
No, that is it. That is what we find in this.
The companies are the one coming up with medical facilities. So somebody, a controller of Kirikiri prison, was arrested recently by the FCC because of complicity in all these medical certificates. The doctor of Kirikiri prison as well, a controller, was arrested. But we'll come back to you. We'll take a break now. And after this break, Mr. Adiafenai Pathfinder will continue with this very, very valid point. But don't forget, this program continues on our satellite channels, GoTV, Star Times. You can continue to watch, and online streaming. You can watch in the UK, United States, wherever you're watching this program from around the world.
Enough. We complained enough. We cried enough. We fought ourselves enough. We've hated ourselves enough. It's time to do what the Bible says. Come together as a people. Come, let. If we all want to look at the ugly side of Nigeria, we find nothing good at it. I do not know any other country in Africa that is as big as ours, that is as populated, and so much blessed with natural resources, blessed with natural gift of God, whosoever you are. This is one country that we have to join our hands to build it together and get a new nation. Nigeria must not be destroyed. We can make that determination. Whether you are in the police, whether you are in the army, particularly those of you that God has given grace in position of rulership, we have a right to call the nation to new attention. God is able to heal Nigeria.
Independent television is live 24 hours on 107 Star Times channel 130. You can watch from any part of the world on Roku TV, Smart TV, Amazon Fire TV, and Android TV for your favorite programs, news, current affairs, and lots more. You don't want to miss our objective and balanced reportage, entertainment, and sports. Now follow us via our social media channels on Twitter at ITV Radio NG. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ITV Radio NG. Like our Facebook page, facebook.com/ITV Radio NG. Visit Visit our website for more news stories and lots more at itvradioNigeria.com. Watch ITV via live streaming on the internet, itvradioNigeria.com/live, and click on the TV stream option. Also remember to visit your mobile app store and download the ITV app so you can watch on the go. For advert placement and commercials, call the following numbers:
0805-563-8573, 0803-775-5024, 0708-365-2800, and 0708-365-2474. Independent television, certainly the best.
Okay, nice to have you back. After that break, we were actually discussing other issues that have to do with the hate speech bill, and my guest was actually highlighting the fact that there need to be serious punishment for other offenses and not hate speech. That the bill was, it was said that death penalty for those found culpable in terms of hate speech, that there are other offenses. I think that was what Mr. DFNI was talking about. You want to elaborate more?
No, like I said, the election violence, for example, the National Assembly should concern itself with election violence. Corruption in all other places where that is affecting Nigerians.
Yeah.
You know, like I said in one of these programs, the rate of poverty in this country is so alarming.
Okay.
It's so alarming to the extent that you can't even describe the kind of food Nigerians eat. A government, for example, that keep on telling the citizens lie, and then you expect the citizen to begin to accept everything you say in totality, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Before, they said we're out of a recession. What were the economic indices that prevailed in the country before we went into recession? While we were in recession, what were the economic indices that made us say we are in recession? And when we say we are out of recession, what are the indices to also suggest that we're out of recession? Before the country went into recession, a bag of rice was selling for about 8,000, 9,000, 10,000. When we were in recession, it was selling for 22, 23, 24,000. Now we are out of recession. A bag of rice sells for 30,000. 28,000.
Don't you think because of the partial closure of the border?
Now, the same government keep telling us that all is well. But when the information comes from government, they call it law speech. When the opposition says what you have given us is not true, you refer it to as hate speech. The closure of the border, for example, is in all intent and purposes is meant to achieve some aims. No doubt about that. Yeah. But some information that the government is dishing out does not really reflect the economic position of the country at the moment. But whatever the government says, we are forced to believe. But when you say something the contrary, then you call that hate speech. At what point does the speech become a loved one? When it is made by government in power.
Yeah, okay.
But when it is made by an opposition who try to express a view, or when you try to say, oh, we're out of recession, for example, and all is still not well with the country, and then you call it an hate speech.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Jeffrey. We'll come back to you. But Barrister Patrick Sekwene, now, Sowore, the publisher of Sahara Reporters, is in detention. But looking at the revolution now, which he actually, which made him to be arrested. Now, that kind of revolution, don't you think if he was allowed, if he was not curtailed, that could have turned this country upside down? So, speeches like that, inciting speeches on the social media, government is trying to sanitize social media. Don't you think the government should be commended?
Sorry for himself, he's entitled to his own opinion. He's a Nigerian, he has the right to express his opinion.
Yeah.
You see, there are freedom of expression also, we know that it's not absolute. There are some, it's subjective to some extent.
Okay.
Yes. So, but I see Sowore calling for revolution now. For me, I don't see that one moving any Nigerians or that I can lead to revolution. Yeah, I don't see anything happening of that nature. That is some personal view. Because see, before anything, you want to get about revolution, You see, you must conscientize, you must read the people. It's not a thing that you do alone. You must get the civil society involved. The church, markets, women, students. Now, so many people, we agree. It's not a personal something. That's what I mean. You engage here. But this, I mean, you never did all these ones. So, I said, this is a personal opinion, and government are taking it serious. Probably they have some personal grudge with him, which I don't know. For me, I think it's laughable. They are keeping him behind just because he said revolution now. Which revolution? That's just true. I know the society very well, Nigerians very well, that they are so weak, they are so fragile. It is Nigeria that will fight for their rights. This is a country. Let me tell you. I said the same interview. I don't remember that 1993. Let me refer you back again. I was university at 200 level. I went to BBC over the issue of searching against Nigeria. That if they don't really pound over to Abiola, restore democracy, they will search on Abacha. Now doing this CNN interview, then I told the journalists, this section that they're going to give to Nigeria, the people will not suffer it. It's only the poor masses that will suffer it. The white man said then, no. Then he said that in Nigeria, they are used to suffering. Suffering is part of their life. Then,
I take exception to that. I Nigerians are not used to that.
He was correct.
But you can say Nigerians can tolerate.
Because in this country, Nigeria is an absurd country.
Sure.
They do one, they do opposite.
Sure.
That is the country. They are so weak.
Yeah.
Which revolution? Who is sorry to lead the revolution? Can he lead the local government revolution? Talk about the country. So I think that probably has a personal, that's my own opinion. There's more to it than what you see.
Yeah.
And that's why
I just brought that
No,
so don't you think some other persons are actually using the social media to incite Nigerians to bring some people down? And there's need for government to regulate the use of
bringing down is not
social
media.
media.
See, there's no way you can stop everybody. There's no way everybody can like you. It is normal. Some people dislike you, some people like you. So even whatever you say about the bill, we not still stop a speech. You have different views to things. We don't have the same view. You have your own mind, take. So I'm not the government should regulate. I'm not saying they should not regulate because for the scale of the society, but not to go into or take to the right for the side of the masses. I told you that's why I got our constitution that by freedom of expression, we are ready to express yourself. And if it's expression is done for a case of criticizing government, policies, other things, it's their right. Nobody can deprive them. If government are trying to do something contrary to the constitution, they have the right to revoke.
Yeah.
If government is trying to, where the constitution does not say third term, you are making second term, second term, want to make a third or fourth term, people will rise against you. You are not going to issue of law speech cannot achieve that, not to stop you. It's very law speech will can encourage you. It's not law speech should be employed. So the issue of what I know is that if it's meant for a particular purpose for goods, you can express. Not to say because of this is so. What I said is to just to cage the masses so you don't talk. Nigeria is not a banana republic. For those who are something the guys which are ground on our constitution. So people are allowed to express their opinion. Don't say because has said it, oh God, this. Let me tell you, if you want to say, let's not give any interpretation to what you mean by hate speech. If I mean, I think a word that is not palatable enough against you, against the person. If I say I hate you, I don't like you. I'm against people. I say that. That I don't like you. That's what you have to tell you by hate speech. Most people in this government today are the product of hate speech. Most people in government today are the product of hate speech. If they say the American Constitution, then try the matter point. Would they be alive today?
Thank you. Let's get Colin Samadi. Colin Samadi, don't you think the federal government need to really do more? We've heard remarks from the Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed, the need to regulate the use of social media. Now a bill was brought. Now, don't you think all these geared towards sanitizing the social media space is a welcome development?
Yes, it would have been a good one if the government body language, if the government from inception, since Buhari's government started, if he had been able to show true leadership, if he had been able to show capacity, if he had said A and he had done A, people will know his intent and intentions are aimed towards achieving a better Nigeria. But in the light of just now, what we have seen are just blackmailing the citizen, are just taking advantage of our, should I say, our weakness, just as my brother has said, because we are so weak, we have become so feeble that it seems nothing active can come out from Nigerians. But go and see Nigerians outside here, and very few you can skirmishly count that are still left who tries to show energy with strength and character in some things. But many of us had become so feeble that anybody can take a ride on us. And that is exactly what you are seeing today. A country, for example, where you have seen people say, even if I don't win you, go to court. Even if you go to court, nothing will happen. We owns government and we owns the court. And these people say it with impunity, and many a time they are recorded and they are not persecuted by agencies who ought to even, there are institutions on its own that can ordinarily investigate, even without the presidency, as it were, interfering. But the problem we have is that even when they try, sometimes order from above usually changes the whole thing. In a situation where you see a sitting governor, a governor calling for war, drawing a battle line, a sitting governor saying we are ready for war, we want to fight, just because you want to win an election, for example. Nobody has seen a governor hearing. Nobody has seen anyone inciting his supporter to begin to fight people and start to invade them where they are doing meetings. And everybody has taken it to be normal, because to some they assume they are fighting Godfather. To some, somebody wants to retain another term. And these are things that are ill, and that shouldn't be tolerated by a cool-headed Nigerian. But we continue to condone all these things, and at the end, it's only when he's not working against them we say is not correct. And many things that brought most of them to offices are things that are not very correct. But when they come, they swim inside and they become superpower. Now, if Sowore, for example, let me just digress a little on the issue of Sowore. Sowore was very my good friend. Even when he wanted to contest for president, some of us as young black minds were approached. But unfortunately, someone like me cannot do anti-party. And because I was still in a particular party, I cannot pinch my tent with you. Not until my own expressions are always very clear. If my party bring a candidate that was not suitable for me, I would then boldly and publicly move out of my party and let them know I'm leaving AYZ, which was what happened in the last election. My party brought out Buhari and I left. I said I cannot bring president back to power, and I do not have any regret for that. But now Sowore had started in a manner which was being doubted. Now, why did I say being doubted? You just contested for an election with a president.
Yeah, but I don't want us to emphasize Sowore, because the case is already before a competent...
Yes, a competent court of law. But what I'm just trying to hit at, Sowore is just a victim of an issue that they may have had in closed door. But if they should allow him to go, owing to the fact that
there are some other Nigerians,
the court have asked him to go, and he's not going, and somebody else wants to prepare another law to kill people.
There's a point you must get here. It's not only about those in government or those outside government. Nigerians make use of social media.
Sure.
Now, there are some persons that try to bring down other people.
Very well.
Those comments could be tagged as it's
sure.
And it needs to be stopped. Don't you think so?
Yes, it is not by sending such a bill at a time like this. Now, let me tell you, we have the FOI bill, right?
Yes.
The FOI bill itself, though it gives you opportunity of seeking for information, it also regulates the way you disseminate your information. Okay. I am sure for those who were acquainted with the period of advocating for it, they will see that even inside the FOI bill, there is a lot in the inside that can do both sides. Now, I would have expected the senator or the House of Rep, for example, to propose a bill that a serving official or a service senator, if he beats up somebody that in a supermarket or molests any person, the person should be sentenced. That public officer should be sentenced to death for desecrating the law and the what he has been assigned to do. But they have done that. Somebody macheting somebody because he's an official. Both at councillor level, we have seen them doing all these things. But nobody is trying to look into that. Now you want to tell me that this thing is correct? No, it's not correct. No matter how we look into it, if it's a system that is cohesive or coherent, we will understand that they have a direction. But these are team. It's not even about party. I do not look at party anymore. Okay. The team are not coherent. The team are not ready. The team are too politically oriented that they have forgotten that there is time to politic and there is time to administer. I only will pity for these night assemblies. I wish they would set a precedent. Now, what precedent would they have set? At the time we saw the Saraki team made a lot of proposals that would have been beneficiary to Nigerian today, because the executive and the legislature at its were seen to be headlong. Why they were headlong? Sometimes very healthy in government. This one will do his own to favor. Everybody was on service, though the executive could not really do eye service because they didn't have the managerial team to do it. But for the legislature, there were a lot of laws, bills that were proposed that even the Mr. President refused to assent to, that would have today be a grand norm for the betterment of our people, our citizens today. Because the Saraki 8th Assembly and the Dogara were just trying to key into the people, let them love us. And you will see responsible bills were coming out. But none of these things, most of them were not assented to. And the citizens were all lying down, reading newspaper and typing, and nobody was interested. Now you are seeing the one that want to kill every citizen now for talking. Then what do we do?
Thank you, Colin Samade. We must go to our next topic. Actually, we'll be looking at another topic which I believe that Nigerians will love. It has to do with the precedent that has just been set in Zamfara State, where the incumbent governor has just signed the bill that has been brought by the House of Assembly. The House of Assembly actually repealed a bill which allows payment of pension entitlements to the former governor, Yari. And the House of Assembly has repealed that. But we understand that some states, it exists. After serving as a governor for 4 years, for 8 years, some wonderful entitlements have been paid to these governors. And that's our next issue. Yeah. We'll start with the DFLI Pathfinder again. Yes. Yeah. What's your take on this?
Mr. Osagmola,
yes.
It's laughable.
Okay.
In a country like this, where somebody will serve for 4 years and appropriate to himself a huge sum of money as gratuity, whereas there are people who serve in the civil service, 35 years, some 40 years, as the case may be.
Yes.
They don't get anything. It's a sad thing. Most of these governors are corrupt, I must tell you. Many of them are.
That's why the federal government is fighting against corruption.
Many of these governors are corrupt. Now, as a governor, after serving for 4 years or 8 years, as the case may be, you see many of them going to the Senate. Now, you receive your pension as a state governor. You go to the Senate, maybe for 1 term, maybe for 2 terms. You also end up getting your entitlement or gratuity, because there is a provision in the National Assembly that when you leave the National Assembly after 4 or 8 years, you are entitled to some gratuity. So most of them end up wanting to receive both gratuity. And whereas our poor civil servants, most of them die. In Oredos, for example, a man died while queuing up to regularize
verification exercise.
It's papers for gratuity. You know, it's a sad development where sometimes every year they keep on coming with one procedure or the other. Many of them don't even end up getting their gratuity before they die. But here are governors who get 100, 200, 500 million as security votes, and yet they still want to appropriate to themselves a huge sum of the state resources as gratuity. I find it extremely difficult to believe a situation where most of our governors who were not known to be worthy in any form, look at the word being worthy, look at it in any way, who were not worthy in any form. Many of them come out to own a university. Many governors establish a university after leaving office. So most of them make the state dry. As if that is still not enough, they still want to appropriate to themselves. It's the highest level of corruption in this country.
Thank you very much.
To me, it's unacceptable.
Okay, thank you. Patrick Isekwene.
Yeah, I think that issue was being carried out by some political buccaneers and gladiators. within that state. Most governors, like what he said here, after amassing wealth for the people, amassing wealth for themselves, they still want to give themselves, gratuity. But you see, a state governor, nothing less than at least 500,000 a month, that would receive 500,000 in a year, say 6 million. That's a big money. That's a big money. Then I'm talking outside security vote. Almighty, which is about 300-400.
Security vote is not their money.
No, it's not
Almighty. It's the money. Security vote will be used for the security of the state. But that doesn't mean it's theirs.
It's theirs.
It's state government money.
It's not state government money. It's theirs. It's for government.
On this program here.
Yes.
Yes. When somebody told me that, are you aware? I said, how do you get money for these things? Because if I calculate money for a year for 4 years, the land there, I know how much it costs for the land. The land million. It's about security vote money. Governor, yes. I said, so security vote money now for the governor. to be tampered with. So what I'm trying to say that they don't account for it. They don't account for it. At the end of the day, when you're going home, like when they propose here, we are aware, here, they will tell you, you actually decide for where they build house for you. Which was about 200 million. Where you're going, you go with.
Yes.
You go with, then some staff, workers will be assigned to you. Like the security men,
driver,
cleaner, all this is going along with it. Your vehicle will be changed every 3-4 years. You will go the one you are according with you. What type of country is this?
Yeah, Patrick, before you continue.
Within a place.
Now, the House of Assembly.
Yes.
These governors, where the states, where these entitlements exist.
Yes.
The state, we have separation of power.
Okay. Yes.
The House of Assembly
Yes.
has the power to either say yes or no to payment of pension entitlement to any government.
Yes. My brother, that word separation of power is only a theory.
It's academic.
It's academic. It's not practicable. We have separation of power here. Most of our assembly is a section of government house. It's a section of a government house. You are aware this is republic, when they say issue of financial autonomy, since republic here, they vote against themselves. They are helpless. Somebody is helpless and helpful. Before the big
when you say they are helpless,
when you vote against yourself, are you not helpless?
Are you not helpless? So just leave that one. That's just the handiwork of a political gladiator and Buccaneers within that state.
Yeah.
For a governor to go with this. They will also you, the lawmakers, we're also going to have a package for you. I know you're talking about me. So that is going to lead the House of Assembly out of it. Because they're being monitored, they're being tailored, it's not their fault. They're helpless. So that is also, that was Manchester deserve a place in the book record. With all this money, you are matching yourself. You still want gratuity. Well, there's a civil someone outside the country majority for 35 years, they don't have a bungalow.
Thank you very much, Patrick Sekuna. Now, Kolisa Amadi, what's your take on this topic? Payment of pension entitlement to former governors.
I know everyone will expect me maybe to toe the line that no, it's not necessary. To me, with the kind of political system we have seen, and with the kind of citizens we have seen, and with the kind of rascal, boozing attitude that are being expressed, especially when you want to contest for an election. A man who has gone for the office of a governor or a senator will tell you there is nothing wrong even if he's receiving 50 million every month till the remaining days of his life, because we tell you all the loans he went for and all the properties he acquired even before he tried venturing into election. You know, when you go once, you have lost. They just tell you, try again. This time, you sell more. Try again, you sell more.
Okay, you mean they sell property?
Most of them are in deficits. And they have every reason to appropriate as much as they want.
You are a politician, so you are talking from experience.
Because the people are too money desperate and conscious. They will make you till you die.
Who are the people? Are you talking about the godfathers?
Not even the godfather. The godfather are just 2%. The voters, the women on the street, the men on the street, they have refused to be refined. You know, it's only in a system that is refined that when some people do some things, okay, all this while this nonsense have been happening. How many citizens have come out to scream? When at the end of the week now, I'm traveling in earnest to go and organize a burial. celebrate my late in-law and what have you. Now, in such a situation, many a time, you see you calling all the politicians you have ever known. You see Ashwebi that will sell for 2,000, you give them for 40,000. You know, so where do you want them to get the money from? You see somebody has oil, he does not have rice. You see somebody, his son has been sick, he needs you to run the bill. And even when you lift office, most times they continue with their burden. And let me tell you, that
these politicians are saddled with
too much for even venturing into it. Oh. You are already entangled. You are already, otherwise they will start stoning you. Cause subsequent meetings, small children will tell you to stand up at the meeting, say when you did there, who you help. And when you cannot continue to come with some set of security men to attend meetings, because I don't just know, sometimes we ask ourselves, where did all these things start from? How can we start all over? The only hope I once had would have been that when President Muhammad Buhari had come in that first term, he would be able to create a system like indiscipline, war against indiscipline, and then maybe we will start to have a new reform. I was not expecting him to build road because I never thought of it. I never researched it. I never expected him to begin to build new buildings. But my aim was that he will help us build institutions. Maybe at the tenure of his 8 years or 4 years he would have left, we would have been able to say, oh, civil service reform is almost perfect. The police commission is working well. Police does not take 20 naira again. They don't pursue Yahoo boys and collect phones. You know, they don't do some things that they ought not to do again. But all these things became double. Even with his coming, that was when I said, God, unto you be the glory. Now, where do we start from at this level? You will ask me and I will ask you. Often a time we have always tried to make recommendations, but who listen? Even those who will listen before they get to power, they tell you they can do A, Y, Z. But when they get there, you see them becoming worse. Then you ask yourself, what is the problem? Now, people were there some time ago, for example.
So are you saying it is legitimate for former governors or political office holders to be entitled to this pension payment?
In a civilized society, when you have served an institution, when you have served a state, as it were, your country, the government, till you die, will have a certain responsibility as it concerns you. You will not bother on health issue. You are already being insured, haven't served meritoriously well. Even when you did not serve, that they have to persecute you in some cases, they take care of some basic things as it concerns you. Now, when you serve in government, for example, when you leave, you are not even assured of anything, for example. And even when you are sure, the one who takes over from you, if he's an opposition party, he will starve you all the years he will be there. Nobody will pay you until you decamp to the party, or you begin to look for how you can make friendship to get your entitlement. But when you have an institution that are running, things that run itself, nobody regulates it, it's already been programmed, then you will not have any cause to wanting to do all that. But let me tell you what I'm trying to say. It is legal to have entitlement when you have set government. When people like us at the period we served government, we said we were thinking that when we were living, as the law entails, that we will be given a certain stipend to say haven't done well. It is the law because they take. But the problem we have just now is the fact that governors accumulate for themselves or appropriate for themselves with the help of the speaker. Sometimes they also, in some state that they like the speaker, that he also raise shoulder, they create room for him to also collect some half. The one that is just yes boy, he do for them and he doesn't get for himself. Yeah. Now, how are we going to stop all that? We cannot stop it until we begin to have institutions that run, that when somebody like Collins has said, and for quite some years I've been out of office, severance I was not paid, even things that I worked for that I was supposed to get, I didn't get, I left just like that, and nobody asked you how have you been surviving. So when you have opportunity, you will do everything possible many a time to want to appropriate something. You have the fear of God, like some of us do.
Thank you, Collins Savadi. Thank you, Collins Savadi. Well, that's the program, but just parting words. I'll be told that time is not our friend again. Just parting words, the FNI Pathfinder.
Like we've been talking about the hate speech bill, I'm not in support of the hate speech in any form at all. Okay. Like I said, it was satanic of the sponsors of the bill to have initiated that bill in the first place. If the National Assembly are less busy and they don't have much job to do, there are other issues that they should concern themselves with. Yeah. The welfare of the Nigerian people should be paramount in their minds. The issue of corruption in the highest order should be paramount in their mind. Election violence. Burning somebody alive on an election day is unacceptable.
Okay. Thank you, dear. Thank you, dear Fanai. Just one word, Barrister Patrick. Just one word.
If the government, those members of the National Assembly, think that by signing the issue into law, we saw the problem of hate speech. I think they're playing what I might call abysmal ignorance. It won't work. So what can always stop it is the honesty in government.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, Collins, you've said so much. So
maybe we can just say one word for me.
My guest, I must thank you.
Thank you.
I must thank you. The director has told me time is not our friend on the program, but I hope you've enjoyed the contributions of my guests. I told you they are very distinguished personalities, and it's been an interesting time. Thanks for being a part of the show this week. Next week, by God's grace, we'll be here again to dissect other national issues. Until then, bye-bye.
This is ITV. Certainly the best. This is ITV. Certainly the best.